Imagine dying, and then choosing not to. Your body deteriorating, aging, failing, and then suddenly, impossibly rewinding. Cells rebuilding. Time reversing. Death refused. Sounds like science fiction. But in the cold, dark waters of the Mediterranean, there's a creature no bigger than your pinky nail that has discovered something humans have dreamed about since the dawn of civilization. Immortality. Not the myth, not the legend, the real thing. This is the story of Turritopsis dohrnii, the only animal on Earth that has genuinely conquered death. And what scientists have learned from this tiny, translucent ghost of the sea might change everything we thought we knew about life itself. The year was 1988. A young marine biology student named Christian Sommer was collecting hydrozoans, tiny jellyfish-like creatures, from the waters near Rapallo, Italy. He brought them back to his lab, placed them in petri dishes, and watched them swim, pulse, feed. Simple research, routine observations. Then something happened that should have been impossible. The jellyfish began to age as all living things do. But instead of dying, they started changing. Their bell-shaped bodies shrank. Their tentacles retracted. And then, right before Sommer's eyes, they transformed into polyps, the juvenile, sedentary stage of jellyfish life. They had aged backward. Sommer didn't publish his findings for years. He wasn't sure anyone would believe him. But when Japanese researchers Shin Kubota confirmed the discovery in the mid-1990s, the scientific community was forced to accept an uncomfortable truth. We shared this planet with something that could theoretically live forever. Turritopsis dohrnii wasn't just surviving. It was rewriting the rules of biology itself. Here's what happens, and I need you to really picture this. When a Turritopsis dohrnii jellyfish faces a crisis, starvation, injury, old age, even physical damage, it doesn't fight. It doesn't flee. Transforms. The jellyfish, about 4 to 5 millimeters wide, slowly sinks to the ocean floor. Its bell collapses inward. Its tentacles are reabsorbed into its body. The entire organism essentially melts into a blob of tissue, a cyst attached to a rock or the seafloor. And then the magic begins. Through a process called transdifferentiation, the jellyfish's cells do something almost unthinkable. They don't just repair, they change identity. A muscle cell becomes a nerve cell. A digestive cell transforms into a stem cell. The creature completely reorganizes its cellular blueprint. Days later, a polyp emerges. Not the same polyp it was born from generations ago, but a new one genetically identical to the adult it just was. The polyp then buds off brand new jellyfish clones. The original adult has been reborn, reset. This biological clock set back to zero. Imagine if a butterfly could transform back into a caterpillar. Imagine if you, at 80 years old, could dissolve your body and reemerge as a newborn version of yourself with all your genetic information intact. That's what this jellyfish does. Not once, not twice, potentially forever. So how is this possible? The answer lies in something most organisms, including humans, carefully regulate: cellular differentiation. When you were born, you started as a single cell. That cell divided, and those cells specialized. Some became heart cells. Some became brain cells. Some became skin. Once a cell chooses its path, it's locked in. A heart cell will always be a heart cell. Can't go back. Can't become something else. This is what keeps our bodies organized, but it's also what makes us mortal. Turritopsis dohrnii breaks that rule. Through transdifferentiation, its cells can despecialize and respecialize into completely different cell types. It's like taking a finished painting and melting it back into fresh paint, then creating an entirely new masterpiece. Scientists have identified specific genes that allow this process, genes involved in cellular plasticity and DNA repair. When the jellyfish is stressed, these genes activate, essentially giving its cells permission to forget what they were and become what they need to be. But here's the catch. This isn't true immortality. A Turritopsis dohrnii can still die. Predators eat them. Disease kills them. They get caught in fishing nets or consumed by other sea creatures. One researcher called them functionally immortal. meaning they could live forever, but in the wild, they almost never do. Still, the potential is there. In a lab, under perfect conditions, a single jellyfish could theoretically cycle through this process indefinitely. Birth, growth, crisis, rebirth, again, and again, and again. Now you might be wondering, what does this mean for us? Scientists certainly are. Research teams around the world are studying Turritopsis dohrnii, trying to understand the genetic switches that allow such radical cellular flexibility. Because if we could understand, and perhaps one day replicate, even a fraction of this process, the implications would be staggering. We're not just talking about anti-aging creams or longevity supplements. We're talking about regenerative medicine. Imagine if damaged heart tissue after a heart attack could be coaxed into regenerating into healthy, young cells. Imagine if neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's could be reversed by teaching brain cells to renew themselves. Cancer researchers are particularly interested. Cancer occurs when cells forget their programming and multiply uncontrollably. Understanding how Turritopsis controls cellular transformation so precisely, without triggering cancerous growth, could unlock new treatment pathways. This tiny jellyfish, drifting silently through our oceans, might hold answers to some of humanity's most devastating medical challenges. But there's something else this creature teaches us. Something less scientific, but perhaps more profound. In a world obsessed with progress, with moving forward, with growth and achievement and the relentless march of time, Turritopsis dohrnii reminds us that sometimes the answer isn't pushing forward. Sometimes survival means letting go, transforming, starting over. There are over 8 million species on Earth, millions of years of evolution, billions of individual organisms living, struggling, adapting, dying. And only one, just one, has discovered how to cheat death. Not through size or strength, not through intelligence or speed, but through surrender, through the willingness to completely let go of what it was, to dissolve into uncertainty, and trust in the possibility of beginning again. The immortal jellyfish doesn't fear endings, because for this creature, every ending is just a transformation waiting to happen. We humans spend our lives terrified of aging, of losing ourselves, of that final inevitable moment. We fight it with every tool we have. And yet here, in the quiet depths of the ocean, is a creature that has learned something we're still trying to understand. That life isn't a straight line. That transformation isn't death. It's a possibility. That sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not hold on tighter, but let yourself become something new. Turritopsis dohrnii will never build cities or write poetry or reach for the stars. But in its own small, silent way, it has achieved something we may never manage. It has made peace with infinity. And maybe, just maybe, if we listen closely enough to what this tiny ghost of the sea is trying to teach us, we might find our own kind of immortality. Not in living forever, but in learning again and again how to begin. If this story fascinated you, you're not alone. Our planet is filled with creatures that defy belief. Animals that can survive in space, see colors we can't imagine, and yes, even reverse their own aging. We're building a collection of the most mind-blowing stories nature has to offer. Real science, real wonder, no clickbait, just the astonishing truth about the world we share. Hit that subscribe button if you want more, because trust me, the immortal jellyfish is just the beginning. What we discover next might be even more unbelievable.